Welcome to my home gym tour 2.0. 2 years ago, I did a home gym tour. I had different equipment then, and I've since made some upgrades. I've learned a lot of stuff. I want to show you the new stuff that I have, some of my favorite pieces. Now, I'm not going to touch on everything as I go through it. If there's anything you want to see more of, let me know in the comments. I'll break down certain pieces more. And if you check out my last video of my old home gym tour, you can see a little more in depth of some of the other pieces and what's different. Let's get into it. Anything that I talk about here, I will link in the description. There will be a link to every single item. There will be affiliate links involved. Purchasing through an affiliate link, it costs you nothing, but it helps me. So if you appreciate my content and what I'm sharing with you, use those links to shop. Let's get into it. My favorite upgrade that I've gotten are these Bells of Steel pulley towers. They're attached to the back of my rack, so there are bolts in the top and the bottom. So there's so much stability to my rack now. The rack that I have, it's from Titan. It's been discontinued, but it's supposed to be bolted down to the ground. I never bolted it down because this setup isn't permanent for me. So rather than bolting down to give it some stability, adding these to the back makes this thing so sturdy. And now it's all one piece. So basically my home gym is all right here. So if you're limited on space, attaching pulleys to the back of your rack can be such a good space saver. I'm gonna move this bench out of the way. For the record, this is also Bells of Steel. This is a very heavy duty adjustable bench. I had a cheap one off Amazon and I upgraded to a sturdier bench as well. These pulleys I can break down in another video. If anyone's interested, let me know. I'll go more in depth. But I really like these pulleys. They're plate loaded. They do have an option for weight stacks. I didn't opt for that. That's a more expensive option. But these pulleys have been amazing. It's a great space saver and it adds such good stability. I apologize in advance for this harsh lighting. This is what I'm working with in my basement. We'll have to make do. On plate loaded pulleys, the weight's gonna be half of what you expect. It's a 2-to-1 ratio or a 1-to-2 ratio. Whereas if I have 40 pounds on here and I pull, it's gonna feel like 20 pounds. But something to note with pulleys is because there's two here, if you attach them, then it becomes a 1-to-1 ratio. So the way that with one pulley here, I can pretty easily pull it down. Once you attach two, it's gonna be twice as heavy. Yep, and I can't do it. That's a lot heavier. So if that's a problem to you where you want the weight to be 1-to-1 super accurate, all you have to do is attach them together, literally just clip together, and then it's an accurate weight depiction. These pulleys here, there's one on each side, or there's two on each side rather. So it opens up a huge wide range of stuff you can do. And I was nervous that because this attaches to the back of the rack, I thought that it wouldn't be very wide. One of the things with pulleys that I miss from the gym is being able to do chest flies. But with these, let me just throw these handles on here. And all the attachments I will link to. I bought a lot of these just off Amazon. Really cheap, affordable attachments. That's good enough. So because you can start out on the wide attachments, oh, yep, there's weight on one side. But this is wide enough for me to do flies and for it to feel wide enough. If you were to attach on the inside pulleys, it would be way too close. But because you're on the outside, you're working on the outside of the rack, it's coming around and you actually get a really good wide extension. Now I'm 5'10". I don't have a huge reach, but it's big enough and this feels plenty wide for me. And one more thing about these Bells of Steel pulley uprights is that these are the same size as their regular rack. So I don't have a Bells of Steel rack, I have a Titan rack. So the attachments are not compatible. This is a very specific size. This is a 2x3. Yeah, this is 2x3 tubing with 5/8 of an inch hole. So what I did, because you can use attachments on this, I went and I bought Bells of Steel attachments. So I bought their dip handle attachment. Because this is the same size as their racks, you can slide this right in and you have a dip station. And what's great is that the holes go all the way through. So I can still work with the pulleys here if I wanted to do any kind of rows or whatever. And now this is facing in. So I have a full station. It's pretty modular in that sense. where you can do any attachments on it. I mean, they sell a whole bunch of different stuff. The attachments I have are this dip bar and these lever arms, which I have a whole video on lever arms. Check that out if you're interested. I don't necessarily have to show you how to set it up, but something I do very often is I superset between doing something on my barbell and then using lever arms on this side. And it opens up pretty much any possibility for any machine you've done in the gym you can do with lever arms. Again, I have a video that breaks that down fully.
One of my favorite uses for these lever arms is doing a belt squat, and I love now that I can have that set up on the back and then do other accessory work with the barbell. Normally you'd have to have the lever arm on the same rack, so this frees up a ton of space. And of course there are limitations. If you want to do seated rows, you can't get a full extension due to the design and where your legs have to be. So what I do is I set up a bench with this dip attachment as the footrest. It gives me a few extra inches to be able to get the full extension, and this saved me. I absolutely love doing these now with this. And pulley towers make it almost impossible to do lat pull downs. So what I do is I sit in between the two pulley towers, and then I have this crazy setup. Trust me, it works. I'll link to everything below. But what I do is I have this attachment where I put two carabiners here, so the attachment is facing the right way, and then I sit in between the pulleys with that leg rest. I slide right underneath, and then I do have a resistance band in between the weights just to make sure it pulls at the same speed. Yeah, it's a pretty crazy setup, and this has forced me to do pull-ups more, which is certainly not a bad thing, but if you need to do lat pull-downs, this does work.
Oh, I guess I'll go down here. I originally had a functional trainer in the corner, a cable crossover. It was from Valor. I didn't love it. This to me is a huge upgrade. And again, I love that the gym is basically just the one piece here. And because the pulleys are attached on the backside, I was able to attach my weights here on the rack side to give it extra stability. So between the weights being on this side of the rack and the pulleys being on the other side, this thing is so sturdy, it will never budge. So this is basically my gym. So it's the pulleys, it's the rack, it's the bench. I have an adjustable bench there. And then I have a bunch of different attachments. For the lever arms, I do have a leg press attachment, which I can show you separately how to set that up. We also have to talk about this upgrade is the new Bell Dumbbells that I have. Absolutely love these. I had adjustable dumbbells that was a bar that you would put plates onto. A total pain in the butt. I did not enjoy those. These new Bell Dumbbells are absolutely incredible. They're on the pricey side for adjustable dumbbells, but they go from 5 pounds to 80. And listen to this. That's the most soothing sound in the world. If it would be helpful, I'll do a full video on these. In an ideal world, I would have a full rack of dumbbells. It would be really nice to be able to have those rubber dumbbells that you can throw around in the gym, have a full rack from 5 pounds up to 100 pounds. These only go to 80. They are plates that lock into each other, so not the most sturdy where you can't really throw it around, but a huge space saver. I obviously can't fit a whole rack of dumbbells down in my basement. I set up really lazily, just put a mirror here, but this is a nice little dumbbell setup for me. So between the rack, the cables, and these, pretty much every exercise you would want, you can do. I also have my leg press, leg curl machine that I've also turned into a preacher curl machine. I put up a video showing how I put this together. It's very simple. Trust me, I'm not really a DIY person. I'm not very handy. So this is a very easy thing to do. But this setup has become one of my favorites too. Now, obviously this is something that's not necessary if space is limited in a home gym. Having a preacher curl of all things is something you don't need, but I'm all about maximizing space and finding ways to make machines double as other machines. So leg extensions are something I absolutely love. That was a non-negotiable for me. I needed that machine in my home gym. Turning this into a preacher curl machine is a huge bonus because preacher curls is something that I would not have been doing otherwise. We'll just swing right here, and we have my calf machine, which is obviously not necessary, but a seated calf machine was so cheap and it just tucks into the corner. I mean, you can see we are in the storage area of my basement, so it just tucks away. But this is my entire gym. So from here, look, we'll swing around. I've got some weights, and then I've got the power rack and pulley combo, and then dumbbells tucked over there in the corner. So this is truly just a corner of my basement. Behind me is storage. Then there's more basement all that way. So if space is limited for you, take a page out of my book. The rack and pulley combo is amazing. I love it. It's really nice having everything tucked into one spot right here. Obviously, there's other stuff that's really nice to have. If you're just getting started building your home gym, obviously you want to start with a rack, a barbell, and a bench. Those are the essentials. If that's all you ever use for workouts, that would be enough. If you go one step further than that, this is what I recommend doing. I love this setup so much of having the rack on one side and then the pulleys attached to the back of it, because then you can do your whole workout in one section here. You can walk through. I love this. As I hit my head, I added a pull-up bar to the back here that's a little too low. It doesn't come with that. Don't recommend. But it's great being able to go front to back on here, do something with the barbell up front, and then easily move back here and use the cables, not having to worry about it tipping and not being sturdy enough. So if I could recommend one step up from just the barbell and rack, it would be the pulleys. But other than that, it's really a matter of preference. Now, if I were going in order of what I deem essential, after the pulleys, I would go with the lever arms because I can do so much with those. And if you go with this pulley system, they attach right on there. So that's not extra room that you need. I love the lever arms because they mimic pretty much any machine in the gym. Chest press is what I like the most for it. But you can do leg press. I have the leg press attachment. There's a lot you can do with those. So that's my next step up. And then the adjustable dumbbells I put after that. For a lot of people, adjustable dumbbells would be one of the first things they get because they love dumbbell work. I don't particularly love it. It's great, don't get me wrong, dumbbells are amazing, but I opt to barbell stuff more. So dumbbells, I use them all the time, don't get me wrong, but that would be the next step up for me. And then the leg stuff, the accessory work, the leg extension, the calves, preacher curl, any specific machines that you would get would be last. But other than that, I mean, this is my gym, what you see here. If you want me to break down any pieces specifically, let me know. I am happy to do that. If you have questions, comments, let me know. Your input is super helpful for me. I want to do more home gym fitness content on here, but it's all up to you guys. If you don't want to see any of it, then, you know, I won't do it. But if this kind of stuff is helpful for you, if you want to see workouts, if you want to see specific breakdowns, let me know. I am happy to do anything. I obviously don't have a huge setup, but I feel like I can do pretty much anything with what I have. So let me know what would be helpful. I am happy to give it a shot. There you go.